real rap shit, boy. It's real rap shit, nigga. Rest in peace,
Look, fuck rap, I'm a street legend. Black mommy with a deep reverence. I was birthed in a C-section. Had the cops and police present. We got ops, so we keep weapons. Yeah, y'all block while y'all eat breakfast. A lot of shots, we broke street records. Watch how you talk, I got reflexes. Watching your cheap necklace. Then we slide at the east exit. But every time we get the fucking niggas up, TMZ catching. Yeah, I still learn the street lessons. From the mastermind, first you master grind and your team catch. Time is for the money, I don't need credit. On the job, this is street setting.
neighborhood now.
On the dog, cause the street setting. Black love with a deep reverence.
That's hard.
Down the street setting. And I got pressure on me. 7 days a week is days trapping on me. Never test y'all, see them do that, that's testimony. Giving them hell, but how the hell I got all these dresses on me? Most of the girls I know addicted to social media. All the time they put in their funeral encyclopedias.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Touchdowns and Tangents, live from the Good News radio station, Sports Edition in Hawthorne, California. It's a gloomy, rainy Thursday night out there in Los Angeles, but I'm here to hold it down for you, provide some NFL takes, topical tangents for the culture, as you know me for. I'm PD Camarillo. I don't even know if I signed on yet, but yeah, I'm PD Camarillo. I think that's who I still am. But yeah, shout out to FPC Radio, shout out to X Squad affiliates, shout out to Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace. Shout out to Big Sean Detroit 2, Hit Boy. That was a snippet from an upcoming song on the new album that Hit Boy played a couple weeks ago on IG Live. Just had to play it because, well, it's been pretty motivating for me lately. We need something to keep us going, so let's keep it going. With that, tonight we got a lot of shit coming up to talk about, specifically a lot of content for you Rams fans out there. We got to talk about that whole Brandon Cook situation, but in addition to that, we're going to be talking about the remote draft updates, some other, transactional things that have happened the past few weeks, what's been up with the college football, pro days, all that sort of stuff, because much like this podcast, the whole entire world is remote. That includes the draft process. So Kenny's going to be calling in pretty soon to talk about that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to start the show off with a high note, just playing a cool song that I recently discovered from Nipsey and Big Sean, man. Shout out to them. Looking forward for that album to drop. With that, like I said, I wanted to start with the Los Angeles Rams, your Los Angeles Rams, soon to be Inglewood Rams, trading Brandon Cooks, 2 years after sending a first-round pick to the Pats to get him? Essentially trading him for a second-round pick, and I think there was also a future pick. It also cost him $4 million in cap space to make that deal happen. Ultimately, it's got to be a win for the Rams because, as I said, yeah, you gave up a first-round pick, but the market's changed a bit. When you consider kind of how last year's trades with Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown essentially kind of, flopped, for lack of a better word. We still had Steven Diggs getting traded, but I think that was more of a situation of the Vikings didn't really want to trade him, but the Bills made an offer they couldn't refuse. Either way, I think with Cooks, considering Hopkins got traded for a second-round pick, you got to win getting a second-round pick for Cooks because Cooks has been hurt. He's been ineffective at times. He kind of somewhat disappears in games. He was supposed to be the number one wide receiver, as he's been for most of his career. And he still is to an extent, but he doesn't see all the same sorts of touches that, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are getting, or the sort of favor that they get from Jared Goff. And And it's not unlike why Sammy Watkins is no longer with the Rams. You can only run so many decoy deep routes before you're like, I could kind of be doing better for myself. Like, I'm doing good now, but if I actually got with a coach who did more than just make me run deep and take big shots across the middle, I might be doing better. So whether or not it works out for the Texans, I don't know. But they have a bunch of speed at receiver. Is that enough to replace Hopkins? I don't know, man. You're talking about one of the most sure-handed receivers of this generation, one of the best receivers of this generation. I don't think it's fair to expect Cooks to fill that void. In fact, I don't even know why they traded Hopkins in the first place if they were just going to go and splurge a second-round pick on Cooks. But I'm not Bill O'Brien. I don't pretend to be Bill O'Brien. I don't pretend to understand Bill O'Brien. And you probably shouldn't either, because who's a Texans fan, right? Exactly. I don't even think Texans players are Texans fans. Other Rams news, man. We still don't know if the season's going to be going down. Everybody's expecting for this whole COVID-19 quarantine to kind of lose its emphasis, I guess you could say, or kind of take a step back in the summer when it gets hot. But they also predict that it might come back in the fall. So I really don't know what that means for football season, or the start of basketball season. But nonetheless, the NFL, as is at least publicly preparing to carry on business as usual. Part of that business with training camp includes your favorite series, HBO Hard Knocks. Personally, I haven't watched the shit in like 10 years. I might catch a clip here or there on social media. I might come across it because somebody tells me to check it out. But I'm not going to seek it out. I'm not paying for HBO. I might bum somebody else's login, but not paying for HBO just for that. I'm a Raiders fan, and I didn't even do that last year. Nonetheless, Hard Knocks, part of the NFL offseason and start of a new season. It's reported that the NFL is going to 2 teams this year, 2020. And what else is happening this year? I don't know, man. What else? Oh, yeah. The SoFi Stadium's opening. So, the rumors, reports are HBO plans to focus Hard Knocks on both the Chargers and the Rams. Good news, I guess, but how many Hard Knocks teams have made the playoffs? And Jared Goff was asked, hey, Jared, you did the Hard Knocks thing like in 2016 when you were a rookie, first year in LA. How was that? And he was like, not good at all. There was literally nothing good about it. Nothing good came out of it. You walked into a room. The producers and cameramen were friendly enough and they were cool. There's nothing wrong with them. But you just didn't know what was public or private. There was cameras everywhere. Everything was pretty much fair game. So just really, like, imagine being at your job. Like, you see those secret bosses jobs, right? Now imagine being in that and knowing that you're in it and doing it for 2 weeks and also being in a hyper masculine testosterone environment with a bunch of other men trying to take your job. Now put yourself in that scenario. Now times it by 2. Throw it into a brand new stadium, fresh off an unprecedented pandemic, and you can see HBO is really thirsty with this one. Really thirsty because, I mean, I get it. LA, Hollywood, bright lights, 2 teams, new stadium. Makes sense to highlight that, right? But honestly, you could just take the fucking Chargers. Like, please, Hard Knocks, just take the Chargers. Hard Knocks needs the Chargers. The Chargers need the Hard Knocks. But nah, this is kind of like when a recruiting trip happens and they're like, the little brother's interested in us, but we want the big brother. So let's take the little brother in hopes of also getting the big brother. Yeah, how does that usually work out? The point is, I don't know why Hard Knocks has to get too innovative. Like, just stick with one team. Like, we were good with one team. I know you're desperate to like mix it up and create some buzz around Hard Knocks and make people care again. But listen, we got subscription services for just our phone. 10-minute snippets. You got the Amazon series. I forget what it's called. It takes everything or whatever. I don't know what it's called. But they do their own series that competes directly with you on a streaming service. Like, we don't need more inside training camp stuff. We know what training camp is. Teams have social media. We see them push out plenty of promos and plenty of people dancing around in shorts and shirts, in bags, talking shit, giving pep talks, firing people up. Like, we're good. We get plenty of that on Twitter and Instagram and even now fucking TikTok. So Hard Knocks, stop trying so fucking hard. Take what you can get. It's curtain call. There's a solid 7 there. The Chargers, like, don't really have a quarterback. Like, they have a lot of talent spread throughout the roster, but like, outside of Bosa, do you really know any of them? Like, do you spot any of them out? I don't know. Melvin Gordon was kind of getting confused for Todd Gurley for like 2 years. So, again, highly unlikely, but that could change if you brought Hard Knocks into the building. Like, with Phillip Rivers gone, you need a new face. Like, perhaps you can find that face. Anthony Lynn, black head coach, well-respected, assistant for a long time. What, because he's not this 30-something-year-old whiz kid? Like, he's not enough to carry the show? Like, you couldn't just put a show around Anthony Lynn. Like, let's see what it's like to actually be a black head coach. We talk so much about it. We've seen it with Hugh Jackson, sure. But that doesn't mean we don't need to see it again a few years later. Like, Anthony Lynn came into the same year as Sean McVay. Anthony Lynn missed the playoffs last year and has looked like, well, the Chargers failing to execute and win on some games. But overall, Anthony Lynn is a great coach. He hasn't won a ring, but he's a great coach. He's a good dude. Everything I've heard from him. So let's see what the Chargers look like. Take us under the hood of the Chargers because nobody even knows that they exist in LA. Like, maybe they can find some fans abroad. I don't know, man. The point is, this whole Hard Knock shit, taking 2 teams, I get what they're trying to do, but they're just trying way too hard. Take what you can get. You got the Chargers. Run with the Chargers. Give them their shine. Give them their light. Like, the Chargers are going to be sharing an arena with the Rams for at least 20 years. So let them have a little ounce moment of spotlight over that team while they can. Please? I sound like a fucking Chargers fan. You guys are making me sound like a Chargers fan. It's quarantine week 4. This is where I'm at. I'm advocating for the Chargers to just take Hard Knocks. Like, the Rams don't want Hard Knocks. The Rams don't need Hard Knocks. They got a $3 billion arena in development in Los Angeles. They don't need any more attention. We know the Rams are in LA. We know they're here. Like, they've already been on Hard Knocks within the past 5 years. Like, take that shit to the Chargers. Take that shit to Costa Mesa and go see what's over there because the Rams don't need it. They're already going through plenty of turmoil, plenty of roster turnover. Like, as cool as it would be to see that, that team has a lot of questions and a lot of things to figure out. They're still recovering in the hangover series. And hopefully whenever Kenny calls in, we can actually talk about that because fact of the matter is, like, how much leeway does McVay